Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Tony Amos and I'm the Digital Technologies Manager for Electronic Signs, and thank you for listening. So this is a video tutorial for our customers who use 4G communication software to change messages on their electronic sign with the ColorLite software. The first important point is this cloud-based software platform only previews correctly using the Chrome browser. So this is what the Chrome browser looks like. If you do not have this icon on your computer, please ask somebody. You need to upload it from Google and install that onto your computer and use this as your browser. Otherwise you may find some functions not working correctly. And just a bit of housekeeping, I've doing this video tutorial with screen recording software. You can see where my mouse is. However, if you see me moving up here, all that means is I'm stopping and starting the video recording software. So please ignore any mouse movements I make towards the top of the screen. So let's get started. We assume you have the Chrome browser installed on your computer now. You need to go to the website address that we would have provided to you and enter it into the URL address bar, au.colorlightcloud.com. We would have provided this to you. There is no www in front of the website name. And we will have also provided you with a username and password. You can change your password if you like using the account settings in your account. However, please let us know if you do this and we will keep it on file, as there is no forget password link. So let's get started on the actual part of the tutorial. What is a good thing to do is basically set up the screen for yourself for better viewing, and you can do that by clicking the Control plus or Control minus button as you normally would with your keyboard. I'm happy with the screen size for this tutorial, so I will keep it as is. The other thing to notice is here you may change the look of the tiles on your page. So for instance, I always put it on there because I just think it's easy to read. And if you like, you can always use this information tab for additional information. I normally have that window closed. The next important point is the word terminal really refers to what is called your home page. So I really encourage you, whenever you're in the middle of something and you get lost, always go back to terminal, always go back to home page for the beginning of your process, and you can't go wrong. As long as you remember terminal means home page, you'll be right. The other thing that this terminal refers to is for this particular client, they only have one sign. So that's where you can see terminal 123E. If you have more than one sign, you may see two of these appearing. So that always means you need to choose which terminal or which sign you're actually making changes on. So the first thing we're going to do, and is what you should always do when you're first going into this software, is to check what message is appearing on the sign. And how you do that is you first click on which terminal you're referring to, i.e. which sign, and then click this screenshot icon. And as you can see, there is a message showing enrolments are now open for 2020, and if you've got more than one message, you need to click the refresh button. There is only one message displaying on this, but the reason to keep clicking the refresh button is because it is a snapshot of the data that's being sent up to the cloud. The next step is we wish to edit the message on our sign. So to do this, we click Playlist. Then we click on the message program. These are two different message programs that the client has set up. And you click on More. This is the one I want to change, the enrolment program. And then you click Edit. This opens up to the window where we can add and delete messages, for example. And first thing you'll notice here is the playlist name, or the name of the file, is Enrolments 2020. So somebody has previously set up this file and they have called this program file Enrolments 2020, and it looks like there is one message screen set up in this file. The other very important point, one of the first things I said is you need to be on the Chrome browser. The next important point you need to know is every time you switch computers, you need to check the width and height of your sign. So as you can see here, it says this particular sign is 256 pixels wide times 128 pixels high. This is correct for this sign, so it's all displaying well. If you don't know the size of your sign in pixels, you need to ask us. So let's have a look at how we can edit the text on this message screen. This is your text window here. So we'll just make a short, very small change here. For the benefit of this tutorial, I'm not going to save any of my work. You just click save up here because this is a live client file. So that's the reason why I'm not saving my work, but it's enough to show you how it all works. And when you wish to center your text, you go into font and then you use the usual Windows left alignment, center alignment, right alignment, and you'll see that under font. You can change the font style if you like. So for instance, you could go to any of these, for example, Impact. We recommend for any fonts with digital signage that you you should stay away from fonts that have, let's say, curls on them. They still look okay, but because you're actually dealing with lights and LEDs and specific dots, generally, as a general rule, of course you can if you like, is choose fonts that don't have curls on it for the technical term, i.e. Arial is a good font or an example font that you can use. This is where you can change the font color. So for instance, I'll just change it to red. You can have a look at the outline and shadow. That gives an interesting effect for your text. And if you want to change the background color, you go into Effect and then you change the background here and click OK. And as you can see, that changed the background color. This is where you change the page duration. So at the moment, this message is displaying for 6 seconds. The default is 6 seconds. Most people just leave the default as 6 seconds. But if you want to change, it doesn't matter with this program because there's only one message anyway. But if you have a series of messages, for instance, if you want to change that to 3 seconds, that's where you do that. Okay, just having a look at that, you wouldn't keep the pink on the pink, so I might change that background back to grey just to make that stand out better. Just play around with your font colours to see what looks good on your sign. Okay, this existing program file only has one message screen. So this is how you create another new message screen or another page for your program file by clicking on this plus button. You can also duplicate. So for instance, click this guy here. That should duplicate. So for instance, if you set up consistent formatting that you like, that's a quick way of making sure that you keep that consistent formatting for additional message screens. You can change the page order here, and now I'm going to delete back that duplicate page. I don't want it. So I'm going back to, this is the blank slate page 2. So what we want to do is add new content. So we do that by adding, let's for instance add a text message. Click on the plus button. I always add multi-line text. Single line text is a little bit purposeful for your narrow electronic signs. So I always just use the multi-line text to be sure. So you can use that drop down there. Alternatively, you can use this icon up here if you like. So I'm going to use this one here. By default, you can see that the text message is only covering part of the sign. You can either use these little bubbles to cover the sign real estate, or a faster way is just to click these 4 arrows here to cover the full real estate of your sign. So I'm just going to add a new message here. Already centered, so that's good. And we may just change the size of the font just to show you how it works here. I'm also going to run this slide for only 2 seconds. And then I've made the changes and I'm ready to save my sign. This is a live program, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to save the changes, publish it to the sign, show you how that works, and then I'll go back in, edit the sign again and delete this change because we are dealing with a live client site. So to save, you click your save button. Save as that file name, Enrolments 2020. Now while this file has been saved, you can play around with program files as much as you like and save them. Unless you publish them to the sign, that new file message will not appear on the sign. So at the moment, the only thing, the message that would be appearing on this sign is the first message, enrolments are now open for 2020. So let's now publish those changes by clicking publish. You need to click the terminal, i.e. the actual specific sign that you want to send that to, and then you click confirm. Publish success, and you know that message has been sent to the sign. But now what we want to do is just to check the screenshot again. So we did that at the beginning of the tutorial, and let's double check to see what's actually displaying on the sign. We go to terminal, there we go, and we want to have a look at this one, and we click screenshot and click refresh. It's 6 seconds for the first one, only 1 second for the second one. So that's why the second one isn't showing. But if I keep clicking for 6 seconds, it should show up that second screen coming up for 1 second. And that's how that works. Also, on some occasions, you may need to wait a few seconds for those signs to be updated to the cloud, simply because it's cloud-based software and it's not based on the hardware of your computer. So now I'm going to go in and delete those changes I've just made. So let's just do it again. Playlist. We want to go into this one. We want to edit it, and we wish to delete this page here. And we save, and then we publish. Now the other important feature I didn't show you up to this point is I've actually set up 2 different message screens on this program file at the moment. Is you click this preview button, I've set each of these messages up to run for 2 or 3 seconds each. So you click the preview button and it shows you the flow of messages that you've set up, and you can see here the number of seconds that each screen is displaying for. So that's a really good way to check your program file, and we do recommend that you do that prior to publishing to your sign to see if you want to make any changes. Have you done? And another feature under Effect is you can do the Move Up feature, which works like that, and then you can change the scroll speed if you like. We do not recommend you do this for high traffic areas for obvious reasons, as it can be distracting to traffic, but while your messages are static, there's no problem. So what we've done so far is edited an existing program message. Now I'm going to show you how to create a brand new message file. And you simply do that by clicking Create. That brings up your blank slate. It does bring up a default file name. Here it's called Playlist 6380. I'm going to rename it Tony Test. Try and save it. You'll see it says program page cannot be empty, so that means I need to add at least some content before the software will save the name and the file. So that's what we'll do now. So now we just go through the same process that I showed you before to add content. This time, instead of using this button, I'm going to add multi-line text by clicking this icon. And again, it doesn't cover the whole real estate of the sign. I'm going to drag it manually this time because what I'm going to show you how to do now is to add layers for effect. So let's just give this some words. Welcome. And then how you then add another layer is you click this button here. Down on this left-hand side is for page additions. This is for your layer additions on the same message screen or the same page. So you click this button here to add another layer, and let's say we want to do multi-line text again, and let's just say hello, and let's see how we can drag that one over. So that's how your layer is dragged over. Just to make it clear how this works, I'll change the background color, and that's your new layer. And again, you can manipulate that however you like to delete it. You can duplicate or delete here if you want to. But this is a way you can create really nice effects on your sign. So for instance, where that text message is with welcome, you may have an image uploaded there that you can manipulate for the size for your sign. You can have as many layers as you like, but remember, it's all about readability, and if the sign's too messy, your target audience is not going to be able to read your message. So yeah, don't let the technology make you go a little bit crazy with the number of layers. Just think about the readability of your sign and what the message is that you wish to convey. For example, I can make this layer text move up, but it all looks a little bit confusing, doesn't it? So it's probably not something you would do, even though the technology allows you to. This has also shown you that any changes you make to font, outline shadow, background color, etc. is only made to that layer. So for instance, if you wanted to use a title of different color or different font, you will use a different layer to present that title. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to upload an image to your message program. Now this is assuming, to your actual message, this is assuming you've already uploaded an image into the software platform. But if you don't know how to do that, I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But this is just assuming you've already uploaded it to the software. So all I'm doing now is adding that image to our actual message program. So you click on Files, which you can do here or up here, and Add Material. And then that brings up all the images that somebody's already uploaded. I want to add this image of a header panel and click Confirm. And there it is. So once you've done that, you can use the little bubbles to move it if you like. So for instance, you may want to move it to there, and that adds some background color on the right hand side if the image size looks a little bit skew-if. That's a technical term for not quite right. You can add an effect, for example, a scroll or a mosaic up and down for your images. Again, please don't use these movement effects if you have passing traffic with your sign. Or again, you can use this to maximize it and make sure the image completes the real estate of your sign. So now I wish to upload a new image to my sign program, and it's an image that I've never used before, and I need to upload it to the cloud-based software. So we always go back to Terminal. Let's start again. I'm not going to save my changes. Go to Terminal, and then to upload a new image to your sign program is you click Media. That shows where all your existing images are. You click the Upload button. You can upload a folder of images or upload a file. So I'm going to click the Upload button, look for a folder. I just happen to have this one here, size 256 × 128, which we'll talk about in a minute. The image size is quite important. And then you just click into it. And there it is, it's uploaded. So again, when we go then to upload, I'm going to click this one this time, Files, Add Material. There it is, that's the file that I want, and click Confirm. And there it is, uploaded to the program file. So an important part of uploading images to an electronic sign is the file size of your image. This is part of a completely different tutorial that's called, I think, Resizing Your Images. It should be on the same page website page where you found this tutorial, because let's just have a look at this one for instance. The size of this file called Schoolgirl Computer is 256 × 127. Now that is ideally sized because up here we know that the size of the sign is 256 pixels wide times 128 pixels high. So that means every time there's a dot, that dot is basically completing fully all the dots on the electronic sign. So that is ideal. So for instance, if your sign is bigger or smaller, you need to change those width and height dimensions. You can upload an image that is a different size, but for instance, if you did that, it may appear like that, or it may appear squished, or you may need to just manipulate it and put it in the middle. But the whole idea of making it the ideal image size is that you basically complete all the real estate of your sign so the image looks better. So this is an ideal image size for this particular sign. So have a look at that image tutorial, please, which shows you how to crop and resize your images so that it looks great on your sign. You've got to be careful also not to upload any image file that's too big. So for instance, if you see figures in the thousands, they're probably too big for the cloud-based software to upload. So you'll need to reduce the size of that image. And again, that video tutorial for how to resize images will show you how to do that. So I just want to quickly show you some additional functions, for example, the clock and the weather. So let's click the clock icon. You can see that again, it's not covering the real estate of the sign, so we just click this. We want that to be a multi-line view, and this is where you can make all the changes. This sign hasn't been adjusted for Australian settings. It obviously should say 25th of the 7th. So please get in contact with us if that is the case with your sign. You can also add some text, for example. If you wish to add the weather, I'm just adding a new message screen here. Click here. You'll see that it's left justified. So if you want to put that towards the middle, you can just move your dots over a little bit. Move it to there, move the layer. And this is where you can change single line view. Let's say I'm in Bathurst. As an example, Bathurst, New South Wales. You want it to do degrees Celsius, and that's where you can make whatever other changes you'd like to do. So that's the part of the tutorial that shows how to add content or add new message files. The next part of the tutorial will look at scheduling. Now this is only important if you wish to schedule. So for instance, a program during the school holidays that will only run from Monday to Friday, and you don't want to think about it while you're on school holidays. That's an example. Most of our customers don't bother with the scheduling function, but they just make changes as they need to. But if you do want to do it, you just click schedule. That's the playlist, and then you just click the command key. It says click plus to create new schedules, which you do up here. And that's where, for example, you can set your sign to sleep or to wake up every day. Generally, we'll do this for our customers when we give them the first tutorial. So you shouldn't have to change this unless it's daylight saving or something like that. But that's where you set those commands of sleep, wake up. We do recommend, for example, that you do an occasional reboot. You may actually want to schedule that, say for instance once a month or something like that. But however, that's all part of the troubleshooting, which I'll talk through in a second. So that's the command part of the scheduling, that one. If you want to schedule a particular program, there's only one in the playlist here. You just click, that's brought up one message program, and you just click the edit button and in rotation mode, and then you can just use this function to schedule it to run with a 24-hour clock or a 12-hour clock. It's up to you. And then you click confirm. Any message file that you put in spot mode always takes priority over rotation mode, as it shows here. Spot mode is greater than rotation mode. So that, for instance, could be something like swimming carnival cancelled today due to wet weather. So that would override any message program that's been scheduled. I'm going to run through some troubleshooting tips now if you see any problems. This is just some easy tips. So for instance, if you click monitor, this will show you whether or not your sign is online. See how this is green? This is showing that the communications, it's generally related to the 4G communications card. So if that's not online, you need to contact us and we need to sort out that problem for you. You can also check your commands. So for instance, let's go back to terminal. If we click on detail there, it will show you the sleep times, the wake up times and the reboot times. We've already looked at that. You can check schedules and so forth. So if you're having any problems with message displays at particular times, that's where some of the problems may be. If you're finding, for example, that the sign isn't displaying quite as you think it should be, so for instance, it's not covering the whole real estate of the sign, even though in the preview screen it looks like it should be, double check that you're using the Chrome browser, which is this icon down here, not sure if you can see it there, and of course check the size of your sign that we talked about before, and double check that that's correct, particularly if you're a new user. So let's just double check what I mean here. And here you can see it's set at 256 × 128, which is the correct size for this sign. You don't need to do it every time. It's only when you're using a new computer that we found that you need to check that. We have found a couple of occasions where schools have needed to reboot their sign. I showed you how to do that with the command function before. That's pretty straightforward. If that still doesn't work, and you sort of got an urgent need to make the sign to work, they're in your power board. In schools, it's generally near the office or so forth, and your GA will know where it is and how to switch it off. There will be an electricity switch that says electronic sign or LED sign, and you can try switching that on and switching that off, and we found on a couple of occasions where the sign just needed a bit of a reboot that worked. So that's just some troubleshooting tips for you if you have any problems. Of course, if you do keep having any problems and you just need help, go to our website and click the Contact Us button. And this is where you just say you've got an issue with after sales service. That mostly will come straight to me, and then I will forward that on to the right technical person. For after sales, it's best to say what the issue is as much as you can, because there's various technicians that I can forward your inquiry onto. So just be as specific as you can, and that will be great. So that's the end of the tutorial. I hope you feel confident and have fun uploading new messages and images to your sign. Please don't forget to have a look at the resizing images tutorial. And of course, at any time you can get hold of us if you just need a little bit more help to use your sign. And we look forward to seeing it in action. Thank you.